It has recently come to my attention that people actually get their sports opinions and advice from Stephen A. Smith. I have a lot to say about this, so hang in there. I want to break this down to not only does Stephen A. not watch sports, but he thinks he knows a lot about them. I want to start out by saying this. First Take is very entertaining, and I believe that's what it's meant to be. If you want to eat a bowl of cereal, catch up on the relevant sports topics of the day, and have a laugh before work, look no further than Stephen A., Max Kellerman, and the worst moderator in TV sports history. But to think that Stephen A. is anything more than entertaining is a word that he likes to use a lot. Blasphemous. He doesn't come up with the topics, he doesn't do the research, he doesn't write the scripts, he performs with the information that the producers give him that very morning. And they usually give him the easier side to argue with, and Max is stuck with the less desirable side. Which makes sense because Stephen A. is the star of the show, and the debate show would be super boring if they just agreed on everything. So we end up having moments like these.
I want Iguodala.
And if you want a really good example of what I'm talking about, Stephen A. really got exposed and he pissed off Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan has been covering UFC forever and knows so much about the sport. And Stephen A. did a post-Conor McGregor fight analysis with him on ESPN, and Stephen A. very loudly and very confidently disagreed with Joe Rogan on what happened on the fight, and obviously didn't sit right with Joe, and he called him out later on an episode of his podcast. And Stephen A. responded by saying, "Look at the views it brought in. Look at the numbers. Oh, you don't think I know about the sport? That's just wrong. Look at the numbers." This is exactly the mentality I suspected him to have. It doesn't actually matter what he says, but it matters how many views and how many clickbaity titles they can get and how loud he says it. So why would he need to watch the games? He just needs to be entertaining. And to me, this is what Kevin Hart does when he goes onto TV shows. He talks about sports in the funniest way. He doesn't pretend to know about everything, but everyone watches because he's so funny. And I'm sure you've all been waiting for this, but let's get into some of the dumbest things Stephen A. has said, and it's all the proof we need to know he doesn't watch the games. When talking about quarterback Dwayne Haskins, he said, "He is no joke. He played for a big-time program at Ohio State. I just find him to be more of a runner than a thrower. That's just what I've seen." Oh, really, Stephen A.? Is that what you've seen? One of the best statistical throwing quarterbacks in the last 10 years who has the mobility of Tom Brady as more of a runner? This season, Dwayne Haskins threw for 4,800 yards and only ran for 108. The next example, I don't have the quote, but this is when Johnny Manziel won the Heisman. He didn't even know who he was. He said Skip Bayless had to inform him who he was. They covered several college football topics on this show, and you didn't know who the biggest name in football was? In our last example, while discussing hockey, which he definitely doesn't know anything about, they were talking about the Chicago Blackhawks winning streak and how impressive it is, and he had this to say. I'm sorry it's so long, just follow along. He said, "Excuse me, it wasn't 21 games. It was really an 8-game streak. There were 3 ties. I'm sorry, that doesn't count. I'm not into the tie business. This isn't soccer, okay? And the hockey stuff, I'm sorry, I'm not buying it. Not only that, if you go to overtime, you get a point. If you win the game, you get a couple of points. I'm sorry, you want a cookie? Last time I checked, when you take the ice, it's to actually win. It's not to tie. So I don't get all this stuff. Hockey's clearly about the points because if you go to overtime 20 times and you get 20 points. I don't understand that. You can either win or lose in sports. When does the Stanley Cup champion is crowned? Is it because of a tie? No, it's because of a win." Yeah, it's pretty bad. If you know anything about hockey, you know how ignorant this statement is. And instead of saying, "I don't really know much about how impressive it is or about this topic because I haven't seen a game in my entire life," instead he goes on this rant and it gets clipped and gets millions of views. But it's not bad. He does his job. It's only bad when he pretends like he does watch the games. An example of a show I want to bring up that has a perfect mixture of entertainment, good information, and honesty is the Pat McAfee Show. I usually don't have time to even watch shows like these because I need to watch the games myself, do hours of research and scripting for my videos that I post every day. But when I just want to laugh, watch a show that has amazing guests, former NFL players, etc., this is a show you should check out. Pat is very open that he isn't an analyst. And if a player comes up that he doesn't know much about or doesn't know their situation, he says it. He goes, "I don't know what they did last year. I don't even know if he's still on the team. I don't know his name." I love and respect that so much more. But on the other hand, Stephen A. will scream his opinion, interrupt you, and call your opinion abomination, even though he has no clue what he's talking about. I think ESPN is aware that their show is growing a little stale, and other platforms that have good information is what people are gravitating towards now. They've gone as far as banning any ESPN employees from going on Pat McAfee's show. a YouTube show that isn't affiliated with any TV network. They feel that threatened. And so in conclusion, Stephen A is a good guy. He's loud and can be very entertaining. He does so many shows and podcasts and interviews, he simply doesn't have time to watch the games like he probably used to. So you should really take him for what he is. He reads what the producers write for him, he does a good job at it, but if you're looking for a Chris Sims level analysis on the next great NFL quarterback, don't turn on First Take. And lastly, the one thing I want to say is ESPN does overwork him. He's on way too many shows. They're overkilling his brand. He has to be exhausted. I think he just needs a break. Thank you guys so much for watching. This was a ton of fun to make. This has just been frustrating to me because people were actually like quoting Stephen A, I heard, and I was like, you really can't take him that seriously. He just says what he's in front of him. He's all about the theatrics, the yelling, the this, that, the other thing, but he really doesn't make any good points, and it's just really hard to watch. But if that's what you like, there is no problem with it. But if you think you're getting the best information, there are so many sports shows out there that can do a lot better job. I really don't think Stephen A even watches the sports anymore, and when he does go to the games and they're having him do UFC, he doesn't know anything about UFC. Let Joe Rogan do that. Joe Rogan's entertaining, he knows a lot about it. So I just had to get that off my chest. Comment down below what you think, or comment down below your most notable Stephen A bad take moment. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe. You guys are awesome. I will see you all tomorrow. Peace.